They did not know that Rawlinna was there.
Hi, my name is Molly Faithful. I'm reporting for Space Pieces today here with Laurie Hotstone. We'll be speaking on the events of Skylab's fall back in 1979 from the perspective of Mr. Hotstone, who was one of the men at the time to discover the largest piece of wreckage in outback Western Australia. Could you start by telling us a bit of your background? What was your life like at the time of the Skylab crash?
At the time of the Skylab crash, my life was I was a station master at Rawlinna, and on the evening of the Skylab was supposed to pass over Rawlinna. So myself and my wife and another family, we stayed up that night, had tea, stayed up that night. The Skylab was supposed to come over Rawlinna around about somewhere between midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning. We actually never saw it, never heard it, and the next morning we decided we would to just go out, follow the supposed flight path of it, and see if there was anything along it. So we went out on the flight path, or part of the flight path, and we were probably about 5, maybe 6 kilometres south of Rawlinna, and we noticed an object on the ground that was fairly large, and seeing it as a sheep property that wasn't a sheep, and it turned out to be, as we found out later on, it was one of the gas cylinders from Skylab.
And what were your initial reactions upon seeing the piece?
Well, we were quite surprised, seeing that we hadn't heard the flying over that night, but here was a very huge chunk of it, about 5 or 6 kilometres south of the Rawlinna township, which was a railway town. We were told later on there would have been rather devastating results if it had hit in Rawlinna itself, and the people that came out from NASA to have a look did tell us that they did not know that Rawlinna was there. In fact, they did not know. They had a fair idea where it came down, but they didn't realise how close to civilization it came down.
Yeah.
Because it came down in Rawlinna, and on its flight path, if it had come down there, it would have come down on the town. And probably don't really want to think of the results.
No. Yeah. How did you transport? Did you move it at all when you found it?
We tried to pick it up, but of course it was just too heavy for 3 of us.
Yeah.
So we went back and we actually manhandled it onto a trailer, only to find out later on it weighed about 500 or 600 kilograms. And we manhandled it onto the trailer and went into town. Oh, went back to Rawlinna with it.
And who were the other men with you at the time?
You know, one of the chaps with us was Peter Ralphs. He was the assistant station master at Rawlinna at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
And the other chap, Bill Norton, was the telecom technician.
And what was the aftermath of securing the piece? When the media began to report, were you prepared for the attention, especially that it's still brought up today in articles?
Well, we were very surprised, mainly because news out at Rawlinna was very spasmodic.
Yeah.
There was no TV, there was virtually no radio, apart from you could pick up the Australian Broadcasting Commission at night, but not very well. So basically, communication with Rawlinna was really through telephone, mm-hmm. or railway communications. Our railway's own communication between Port Augusta and us at Rawlinna. But anyway, we ended up taking it into Kalgoorlie, and there it was displayed in the Kalgoorlie Town Hall.
Oh.
After it was on display at Kalgoorlie, we came back to Rawlinna with it, and then it took us some time to figure out a way of what we're going to do with it, because we did eventually found somebody who could reduce it in size, and we made medallions out of the metal part.
Yeah.
And with a little booklet that described what it was.
Yeah.
And presented as a jewellery type case, the medallions, and that's what we did.
Did you receive any other recognition?
The only recognition that we really got was that plaque that NASA sent us.
Oh, yeah.
Each of us received a signed plaque from NASA.
Has it affected your perspective on space exploration or NASA at all with the way they handled where it crashed?
No, NASA came out and really they gave us a tuition on what Skylab was.
Yeah.
And told us what they thought. They did not know that Rawlinna existed, because when they looked at the map of Australia, they didn't see the roll island. Apparently, I'm not too sure what map of Australia they looked at, but they didn't see Rawlinna. To them, it was just a big, wide, open space. So they thought that it wouldn't do any damage. If it hadn't done any damage, it had just come down in the countryside. If there was any damage, it would be with the wildlife and vegetation. And they were very surprised to find out that there was a township, and there were about 20 houses, so somewhere around about 80 to say 100 people there.
Still quite a few people
Yeah. But it was a railway township on the Trans-Australian Railway. So it's 130 kilometres from the main air highway from Adelaide to Perth. So anyway, they got a shock that NASA got a shock that was where it was.
Yeah. And as a note to end on, what would you want known about this event for future generations to remember about Skylab's re-entry and your involvement for finding the largest piece?
So, buy an umbrella, a metal umbrella. Well, you would have to be aware of what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, well, getting away from our point of view, we never had TV. It is out there now, but at that time there was no television there, and radio, commercial radio or any type of radio was problematic. We had to rely on somebody being in town and buying a newspaper that the town could read. So really that's, communications were outside of, we could talk to Port Augusta on our railway radios and that, talk to trains, but as anybody living in that situation, like there's cattle stations around it, Rawlinna's got, where Rawlinna on the Trans line is situated, behind it is a 1.3 million hectare sheep station. So,
thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.